clubs like Watford, West Ham, Bournemouth, Burnley, Sheffield United, Wolves. Um, I really worry for them. I do. I really, really worry for them that they don't have to call in the receivers by uh, June or July.
I mean, how should the business model change as a result of this? Does the whole fundamentals around football need to shift? Is this a shock to the system that forces a real change of the look of the economics of football, so it isn't, as you once said, just prune juice where the money's going straight out?
Look, Rob, it's down to players' wages. It's the end of the story. Players' wages, players' transfer fees. That's the whole business model of football. End of story. If there is no income coming in the Premier League at all, nobody's able to watch the game at all because of this crisis, and it goes on for months and months and months, it is inevitable that players will not be paid. Because if they haven't got the money, you can't pay them. And then I like to see what they're going to do. What is Gordon Taylor going to do then? You can't sue the club if they haven't got any money, particularly if they've gone bust. What's he going to do? Is he going to dip into the multi-million coffers of the PFA and pay everybody out? Because at the end of the day, I can tell you, if this goes on for months into the next season, certain clubs, some of which I've mentioned just now, and I'm not trying to pick out anyone's individually, will have to go into receivership. They simply have to. It's as simple as that. And then the players won't get paid. And it's all very well, because here's the interesting thing is the threat over the heads of all of the clubs at the moment. Well, if you don't pay me, I'll go and play for someone else. No, you won't. There's nowhere else to play for. Certainly not in the Premier League, and certainly not in Europe, because they're not taking in players either. Because they can't, because they're shut down. So there's nowhere to go. And I really do think that you need to ask the players to help to support their clubs, like they have done in Real Madrid. The Real Madrid people, I take my hat off to those players in supporting their football club. They're not just supporting the football club, they're supporting their colleagues. They're supporting their non-playing staff people that make the club, run.
Because the players here were sort of suggesting in the talks, well, we don't want to line the pockets of the owners, but you think they should have actually done more? And as they
it's a very, very, very old-fashioned view. This is it. Gordon Taylor again is responsible for this attitude. They think the owners are multi-billionaires and all that type of stuff. It may be the case in, I don't know, Manchester City or in Chelsea or whatever. It's certainly not the case in any of the other clubs. I don't know about Manchester United or Liverpool. They've got American owners. I really don't know. I don't know how deep their pockets are, but it is absolutely wrong. It's absolutely wrong. I mean, you might as well say that about anything, about Amazon, for example. The owner of Amazon is the world's richest man. But if he can't employ the people, he has to lay them off. He can't keep paying them, and that's the facts of life. It's very unfair to take this attitude that the clubs are owned by billionaires and that the players should just sit tight and not accept a penny less. But as I say, in the case of some of the clubs that I've mentioned already, it may be a Hobson's choice, because give it 3 months more, they may have to go into receivership, and then the players won't get paid at all, and it will be their own fault.
And the Southampton players have agreed to defer wages today. They're the only Premier League club to do so.
Well, that is great. Well, it's very, very good. That's exactly what should happen. Defer. At least use the word defer. I'm not asking them to contribute, but let's just say, from a cash flow point of view, defer. Sit down with the clubs. Sit down with the owners and say, look, okay, stop paying us, or only pay us half. And then when everything gets back to normal again, we'll work out a scheme of recovering the back pay, by all means. But to be a brick wall, an absolute brick wall, and not to even want to negotiate is diabolical.